I'm just really bored. I was sick this whole week, so I just kind of laid in bed. Kind of sick where you're not deathly ill, but enough to make you feel incredibly lethargic. You wake up full of snot. First hours just trying to feel normal between blowing your nose, taking meds, drinking enough liquid to help without coughing. Being sick, I had a bit of time to waste. I'm sure I could have pushed through it, dragging myself through house chores or something, but I chose not to. I didn't have reels, TikToks, or short form videos, whatever you want to call them, to waste that time either. Because at the start of June, I wanted to take a break and give my mind kind of like a rest from doom scrolling so much. The iron of that is not lost on me now that I had all this time. But since I was sick, I wanted to consume something, media wise, while resting. So I went for longer YouTube videos. A lot of that time was kind of just in and out of sleep due to an odd sleep schedule from either the medicine or coughing fits that would wake me up randomly in the middle of the night. I started watching a lot of speedrunning or randomizer content. It's kind of a mix of both. It seemed pretty chill, something you didn't have to pay too much attention to, and if I fell asleep, I could just pick a different one, restart it. It was enjoyable to kind of sit through and fully watch some of these that were like 2, 3, even more hours long, rather than like 10 or 15-second slop videos that I've kind of been watching anytime my brain had a moment to think. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of funny bits and jokes and stuff that I die laughing over, but I kind of just didn't get too much of it. After a binge session, hours watching short form content, I could go right back down the rabbit hole into that type of content after this, but after watching some of these longer videos for a while, I did kind of feel like I could sit and focus a bit more on them. It could be the numbness from being sick, a lot of meds, or a mixture of everything together. One of the main type of videos I got hooked on was archipelago content. If you don't know what it is, it falls into the randomizer category, but I would recommend looking into it. A quick overview of it would be like in Super Mario, if you get a star, you might give an item to somebody who is playing alongside of you in a Zelda game. You could give them light arrows or fire arrows or something like that. It's like a large scavenger hunt, kind of like a custom co-op adventure. The video content itself doesn't really matter too much, but it did kind of get me thinking about how interesting it is that all of these little communities exist for games that are seemingly dead after a period of time. Yet there's still people playing these games as if the popularity of itself never died out. It's just cool to see people come up with this stuff and keep people grounded within their communities rather than rushing new every time a new game comes out like it tends to be sometimes. I'm sure there's still a bit of that, but they do get a lot of time out of these games getting their money's worth. The team or people behind this archipelago software has to have a lot of passion for what they're doing, sitting, bug fixing, creating these tools from scratch, and they might get a little bit of credit from the community, but it seems like very little return. I did tend to watch a bit of Summoning Salt 2. He's big in the speedrunning community. He kind of makes amazing like documentary style videos for speedruns, going back over the history of a specific game and the different types of ways that runners break it or beat the game. These communities kind of have the same thing. People who sit and play the game over and over and over, perfecting it as if it was some type of sport. It's just kind of really interesting. It's just a lot of time and effort put into what most people might think was a waste in the general public. They also have these specific software and tools, such as like a TAS, which is a tool-assisted speedrun software. You can set individual button presses frame by frame when you're recording gameplay, just to see what is even theoretically possible, putting in inputs that humans could possibly never even do. There are also people who aren't really the best at racing themselves, but they're mainly focused being glitch finders for those speedrunners who kind of have the mechanics down a lot better. It's like they just run their heads into the same walls day in and day out to seeing where they can break the game, sip through a wall, maybe try to get an item that they shouldn't get early on in the game. It's just one of those, it takes a village. The runners, the devs of the software, glitch hunters, and in the end, everyone gets to celebrate beating the game extremely fast and just a ton of dedication put into such a niche thing. It gave me a bit of a profound spark of intrigue watching over these videos again. Eventually, when I did wander away from those videos and I wanted something else to have comfort that it wasn't doom scrolling, I decided to boot up my Switch 2. I got it when it first came out and it was a lot of fun. Pretty much anything Nintendo touches to me has to be at least halfway decent. Some of the things that they create are just flat out amazing, brain-tickling goodness. I beat Mario Kart World Tour. It came with the Switch 2. It was okay for a new idea. I think it will age well, But Mario Kart 8 was more the quote-unquote traditional Mario Kart experience and had a lot more to go into it. I ran through another run of Pokemon Fire Red when it was launched as well. Pokemon's a completely different topic that I might cover if I can keep this spark around, but it was good either way. Metroid Prime Remastered, I put some time into it, but just kind of stopped. I don't know exactly why, but I did. It got a lot of hype around it when it first came out. I got it. I played it. If it's not a complete masterpiece or like a nostalgic memory muscle where I just float right through it, I tend to get bucked off after just a bit of resistance. The resistance is a good thing, if we're being real, but I think that kind of comes to the attention thing that I was talking about earlier with the short form video content. After work, I kind of do the same routine: dinner, dog, wife, and then play games. But that game at the moment just wasn't anything special to me. I found myself falling into a routine, hopping on something just to pass the time. I would play Hearthstone Battlegrounds, bounce between League, Dota, Overwatch, Deadlock, some kind of competitive game that I wasn't really going to put my heart into. I've just been playing them long enough to at least have a decent understanding of the game itself. You just Google what the meta looks like, try to pick up a hero that seems familiar, fall into the niche for the moment. I play a bit, lose a game, look at the clock, go to bed. It's fun to try with the brain sometimes after a long day for sure, but it just kind of felt like a blur. Kudos to those people that grind that game and actually climb the ranked ladder, though. Picking up my Switch this week, I ran some updates, checked out the emulators, and it's a bit of a nostalgia bait for sure, but at least I could try to complete something. DK64 is that one that I just kind of messed around with a lot growing up. I don't think I ever actually sat down and played it all the way through. It was just like I have random memories of playing it, owning it, watching other people beat it, but this time I actually sat down and beat it myself. I had all the time melting into the couch just to focus on one thing on the Switch. On the Switch emulator, there's this rewind feature, which some see as probably cheating. I get it. But I wasn't really concerned about that right now. I played through the game. I was enjoying running around collecting things. It felt like I had some type of goal for the moment, be it collecting bananas in an N64 game, but it was my goal for right now. The game is too damn long, though. It's fun. Bosses, puzzles, platforming is chill, but there's just so much to do. It took me about 3 days to roll credits, and I did it. I didn't 100% it, but I did get through it. It felt good to put a nice bookend on it and maybe come back in the future and either play it again or 100% it, or they call it 101%. It was just different enough from the endless grind of competitive games. I like those games. I like the feeling of getting better, but since I wasn't putting any serious effort in, I was just kind of treading water. Finishing this game felt different to me. Checking that off the list did give me another push, though. Like Metroid, I've left a number of things just kind of unfinished when I decided I didn't want to go through with actually finishing it for one reason or another. Maybe something sparkly caught my eye and I just looked a different direction. I will give short form videos a little bit of credit from dogging on them earlier. They kind of help spread the word a lot. My wife's main hobby is reading. I think it was sometime last year I've been looking into a book that I might be interested in that I could share a bit of her hobby with her, and the same name kept coming up over and over and over. It was Dungeon Crawler Carl. The handful of people who see this video probably have heard of this before, but for the NSA agent watching this who hasn't heard of it, it's kind of like Ready Player One and the Hunger Games had a baby. By that I just mean it's nerdy battle royale. When I picked it up, it was as good as everyone said. I read through the first book at a decent pace for me and said, screw it, I'll get the second one, which pushed my wife to start the first one right behind me. And when I started the second one, I think I was maybe halfway through before she started to catch up. We started to share the same book and both finished the second book around the same time, and I let her start the third as I was probably off wasting time doing something else. She wanted to keep reading. After she finished the third book, I picked the series back up, but just kind of didn't have the same fire I had before. I don't think the third book really is all that good to me. It was like the hype only got me so far and I got distracted, so I started to slow down. Halfway through, I just kind of dropped it completely. She moved on reading another 3 or 4 different books and then came back to read the fourth book in the series, finishing it honestly before I even have the time to go back to the third book, or chose to use my time to go back to the third book. When I did pick the book up again, it was this week while I was sick. I just had the goal of finishing stuff that I started and just kind of left hanging out. Reading really wasn't the move. My mind was wandering a lot. So I caved for the first time in probably over 10 years, and I opened up an audiobook. I sat and sorted Pokemon cards, turned the reader on like 1.5 speed just to keep my mind focused on what I was listening to. I'm not a huge fan of audiobooks, but I wasn't going to let this stop me from finishing the book I started. I still think the book itself has a lot of flaws, but again, this week made me want to go back and finish it and kind of put a bookend on it itself instead of letting it sit around again. Between the long-form content, retro video games, reading the book this week, I've definitely felt a lot more accomplished than previously, but I still just feel really bored. I'm starting to get over being sick, and I have a little bit more energy to do stuff like writing this. So I'm just doing it to keep my mind busy while trying to stay away from doom scrolling or live service games for all of my time. It feels good to start something and see it through to the end, but that does mean that you have to start the next climb over whatever hill you choose, and I think that's the hardest part for me. It's committing to the hill and seeing it all the way through. Will I learn anything from this week of being sick, or will this just be something I look back on as a decent experiment that didn't catch on? It might not be the only attempt at changing my habits, but maybe this will help.